Okay, here in the States, when you think about wine, what comes to mind usually? California, right? Well, I'm telling you right now that the whole country's going wine crazy, and nowhere bigger than here in Texas. Today, I'm going to take you to a little tiny town right between Houston and Austin, a little place called LaGrange. That's on this episode of the Attitude Adjustment Hour. Hey everybody, Dennis Cruz here. Head east out of Austin, Texas on Highway 71. You drive about an hour. You're going to come to a little community called LaGrange. It's rural ranch and farm country, and if you go a little bit towards Houston out of LaGrange, there's a tiny little sign that says Rosemary's Vineyard and Winery. That's where Emmett and Beatrice Schultze built the first winery in this area. On a recent gorgeous Texas Saturday, my longtime friend Brian Cooley and his wife Stacy joined me and Shirley on a trip out to this little winery. Oh, and by the way, Bee just happens to be Brian's aunt, and they haven't seen each other in 30 years.
I had told Emmett that all my life I had worked very hard in the restaurant business, and I had promised myself a little place in the country.
So my wife said, we're going to start making this wine. And say, hey, our children come up here, the family comes up here. We made this wine. Well, it got out of hand. My wife wanted more and more, so now instead of being retired, I'm just tired. It's a full time. I'm working overtime right now.
I'll never forget, one of my childhood friends said, Helen, and she still has remained a very good childhood friend. She says, you know what, B? It does not surprise me. It's funny how your mind works sometimes, and you forget what you say as a child. We used to buy a soda. I know y'all are too young to remember it, called Grapette. And it was like grape, like syrupy. But that was the most beautiful color. She says you would always look at that and you'd say, Helen, one day I'm going to make wine. And when I told her, Helen, I have a little vineyard, she says, it doesn't surprise me. Do you remember? I said, remember what? He says, we were 9 years old, 8 or 9 years old, and you would say one day you were going to make wine.
Started planting grapevines in 2000. 99 we bought the property. And every year we planted more and more grapevines. The black Spanish, which is a Lenoir grape, the Spanish brought this into Mexico way before we were born, which is a big grower in Texas. The Blanc de Noir, which is grown all over Texas. The red muscadine, which is big back east in the eastern part of the United States. And then we have a Lake Emerald, which we're going to develop into, we're going to make a white port. Nice. It makes a heck of a white port. We have some Cab, Merlot, and Chardonnay, a little bit, but we neglected when we started growing. But now we're heavy into Black Spanish, Blanc de Noir, Red Muscat, and the Lake Emerald.
Rosemary's has a great little tasting room where you can, of course, sample all the wines. Bee and Emmett are great hosts, and they'll answer any questions you might have on the different varieties, and the wines are really delicious.
That's big. That's hybrid. That's grape of the South. Georgia, the Carolinas, Northern Florida.
If it's the same
Grape. We hold back the sugar. The sugar. We just put enough to cut the edge.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, so it's how much sugar you put in it when it's fermenting. Okay.
When we ferment it out, it's dry.
Yeah.
And then if we want to...
Here at Rosemary's, they make some of the classic wines. They have a real nice Cabernet, a real good Merlot, nice Chardonnay. But they also have some very different wines. And these are wines like this Muscadine. They're influenced from the German background of this area. These wines are very sweet, but they're not considered dessert wines. They're actually for eating with food. In fact, they paired it up with barbecue here, which is big in Central Texas, and very different. You might not like them, you might love them.
One more time.
Hello! Hello!
Oh, look at it.
That's good wine!
Oh, they look so cute.
They look nice? You want to
Yeah, look at them. Oh, they look so cute.
Ooh, nice legs.
Hit me
And the
again.
wine, too!
Emmett walked us outside to the vineyard. Now, each of the vines was planted by hand, and they're tended with tender, loving care. So tell us about
Oh,
this
yeah.
grape here.
This is a Blanc du Roi. It's grown all over Texas. It's a big, known for this climate in Texas. The one on the right now
Let's go look at this right over here.
is a Black Spanish, the Lenoir grape, which was brought into Mexico by the Spanish many years ago. Now it is a big grower in Texas because you can make several different kinds of wine from this one grape.
And what are the wines you would make from this?
You can make a regular dry wine, Lenoir. You could make a port wine or a Madeira from this, and you could also make a sweet wine.
The name of the winery, it's a tribute to a beloved family member.
I have 3 sisters. Joanne is the oldest. I'm the middle child, Beatrice. And then there's Rosemary. She battled breast cancer for 6 years, you know. That's when she succumbed. And anyhow, your mother played a big part in the label. She had traveled to Italy, and your mother brought back the little plaque. It is so symbolic of Rosemary because, like the little woman, you know, and the 2 chirps, Rosemary had 2 children. So I said, you know what, Joanne, that's going to be the label. I said, 4 times a year, from the proceeds, we send to MD Anderson. It's the biggest and the best cancer hospital in the United States, because Rosie would have loved that. For all of those survivors and all those that are fighting.
You can catch all episodes of the Attitude Adjustment Hour at aahour.com. The MP3 audio is also available on iTunes and on your iPhone. Follow me on Twitter. I'm Den Cruz. That's DENCRUZ, all one word. And you know I love to hear your feedback and your suggestions. Email me at aahour@yahoo.com.
So hopefully I've lubricated the thought process for you. I'm Dennis Cruz, and thanks for joining me on the Attitude Adjustment Hour.